in England, they had the law of ownership, and it was based on social rank. You couldn't, if you were just a servant, you couldn't have one of the nicer birds. You had to get the little bitty kestrel that hunted the grasshoppers. It was actually, you could be put to death if you stole someone's bird. These are some pictures from different places. That's a pharaoh with his falcon on the bottom left side. In the 1800s, there was a decline in the sport of falconry. The nobility started to decline. They had the advent of firearms for hunting, and there was more land was cleared for agriculture. There was more people, so they needed more food. It was first recorded in North America in 1622 up in New England. And like I said before, there's only about 4,000 to 5,000 falconers now in North America. In the U.S., depending on which part of the country you live in, there's different birds that we hunt with. Like I said, down here we use red-tailed hawks for rabbits and squirrels. I mainly hunt squirrels with Piper, my red-tail. There are also some that hunt ducks and pigeons with goshawks and peregrines. The Harris hawk, there are people in Georgia that use a Harris hawk, but that's mainly a bird from the southwest out in Arizona and Texas. They hunt rabbits. It's a little bit faster bird. They're able to hunt rabbits, squirrels, and jackrabbits, and actually crows. And the Harris hawk, they call that the wolf of the sky. They will actually hunt in a pack. There'll be more than one that'll hunt together. One will chase after the prey while another one comes in from the side. You can hunt with kestrels. I have a friend who has a kestrel. They mainly catch grasshoppers, but they will go after smaller birds, the sparrows and starlings, and sometimes a dove. And the gyre-saker will hunt geese and ducks and quail. And I have a friend that's going to use his gyre-saker to do bird abatement in the hopefully on golf courses, but also to run the geese off, but also around Lake Lanier. I have another friend who hunts at Hartsfield International. He actually uses his bird for abatement of the pigeons, to keep the pigeons off the runways. In the Middle East, they use saker falcons mostly, and it's a very important part of their culture. It's passed down to their children, as well as in Mongolia and Kazakhstan. There, they hunt from horseback on golden eagles. With golden eagles, they hunt foxes, wolves, and goats. And then over in Japan, they hunt with goshawks, geese, ducks, and swans. In the Middle East, they actually have. In Abu Dhabi, they have a falconry hospital. It's one of the biggest falconry hospitals in the world, and it's strictly for care of falconry birds. They have surgeons, orthopedics. That's actually some pictures from the hospital. If you are a falconer in the Middle East, you can get a passport to have your bird on the plane. The bird can fly first class, not in a cage on your glove. There's some of the rich in first class with their birds. And the bottom picture actually is hard to see. I couldn't blow the picture up very well, but there's about 40 birds all sitting in first class, and everyone else is sitting behind them in economy. That's a young girl on the top left picture with a smaller bird, but normally when they graduate up, they'll go to these golden eagles hunting from horseback. The picture on the bottom right shows the actual size of how big that bird is in comparison to that man. And they will catch fox and wolves. You can see how big in that picture on the right, how big their feet are and how long their talons are. That's not blown up for, that's actually how large his feet are. That's not how we dress here in the States to hunt. But there's a picture of a bird chasing a native bird of Japan. These pictures are from out west hunting jackrabbits. with a Harris hawk. The picture on the top left is a peregrine falcon about to attack a duck. A red-tailed hawk with a squirrel again, and then there's a red-tailed hawk chasing a crow, or vice versa. I think that they got the picture at the right time. Normally the crows are chasing the red-tails. It is the most highly regulated hunting sport in the United States. To become a falconer, the first thing I had to do is study and take a federal and a state test. The bird that I have is not my bird. It's a wild bird that I trapped. I trapped Piper off of a light pole in downtown Warner Robins a year ago. She actually belongs to the citizens of the state of Georgia. I'm just permitted to hold her. Once you pass the test, you have to find a sponsor. You have to find someone that's been doing the sport at least 2 or 3 years or more that agrees to take you under their wing and kind of teach you the sport. There's certain federal equipment that you have to have. It's pretty basic equipment once you get into it, but they say you cannot do it without having this equipment and without building something for the bird to live in. I have in my yard an 8x8 shed that I built, and with an attached covered pen that she can get in and get some sunshine. The DNR had to come and inspect all that and make sure I had everything up to code. I had to do all that before I could ever go and trap a bird. The biggest requirement is time, at the beginning at least. Mew is another word for the hawk house. I have to have a scale. The way we train these birds is by positive reinforcement with food. You cannot use negative reinforcement with the bird. They don't understand it. But you have to weigh them every day. I take the bird out and weigh her every day to find out how much she weighs, and based off of that, I know how much to feed her that day, whether she's too heavy to fly, whether she won't hunt, or whether she's too low and she won't have enough energy to hunt. When I brought the bird, I'll get her out in just a minute. I can show you the swivels and the anklets. The jesses are the little leather straps that you'll see on her feet. You have to have a source of water that she has access to all the time. A leash is not like a dog leash. We don't put it on her neck. It's just a little extended piece of rope or something that we can tie to her jesses, and then something for her to stand on. I have a glove that I have to wear when I work with the red-tailed hawk. If I had a kestrel, you can do that with a bare hand. Their talons are so tiny they can't really even break your skin. I have the giant hood, which is the box that she's in. If you've seen pictures of any kind of falcon anytime, anywhere, you'll see it. A lot of times you'll see a hood with little feathers on top or something. Anything that cuts off their vision, which is their main sensory organ, will cause them to calm down. So by putting her in the box, it's very dark in there. She can't see, so she gets calm inside the box. I have not hood trained her. A lot of the falcons have to be hood trained, the ones that are so fast, the peregrines, because they're very easily agitated. I have a lure that I've trained her to, that if I pull the lure out, she automatically comes to me. She knows every time I pull that out that I have a source of food. So if we were hunting today and it started to get as dark as it is out now, she would start trying to find somewhere to roost, and I need her to come back down to me so I could pull the lure out and she would come down to me. In North Georgia, there's a lot of grapevine, a lot of vines going up into the hardwood trees. We don't have as much down here in South Georgia. So to motivate the squirrels to move, which is my main job, the hawk does all the hunting. I'm the dog in this arrangement. You can pull grapevines and that'll cause the upper limbs of the tree to shake, or you can shoot marbles up into the canopy of the tree and it'll cause the squirrel just to move around and give the hawk a chance to catch her. You'll hear when I take her out, she has bells on her feet. They are extremely well camouflaged when they get up in the tree, even in the middle of the winter when there's no leaves. So you have to have some way to find her. That's my hawk house that I built in the backyard. And then that's Piper on the bottom, sitting on the perch inside her mew. We use operant conditioning. I use kind of the same technique as Pavlov with the dogs. I have a whistle that I blow when I have food. So when I'm in the woods and she's 100 yards away, I can blow the whistle and she knows to at least look at me. It only took about 5 weeks from the day I trained her to when I could first hunt with her to get her to trust me enough to come back to me. Everything's done with weight management. I weighed her before I came in today, and she was about 1,120 grams, which is a little bit over 2.5 pounds. That's about her normal flying weight. Last year she was a little bit lower than that, but as they get older, you can fly them a little bit heavier. Everything was baby steps. The first day I trapped her, I just tried to hold her on my glove for 2 or 3 hours at a time. She kept wanting to bait or fly off the glove, so I'd have to put her back on the glove and have her sit there long enough that she wouldn't fly away. And then the next step was to introduce some food. It took her 4 days before she would eat. But after the first day she ate, it was game on after that. I was able to put on a perch and go across the room, and she'd fly across the room, and then she would fly the full length of the room. And after that, I took her outside and we started flying back and forth in the yard. We have a hunting season for squirrel, just like you do for deer or anything else. The season runs from September through March. During the summertime, between March and September, red-tailed hawks will molt. They'll lose all of their that year's feathers and grow new feathers in. As an apprentice, for the first 2 years, I have to have a juvenile bird. I'm able to keep the bird I trapped last year into this year, but you have to trap a bird that has a red-tailed hawk that still has the stripes on the tail. If they have the red tail, once they get the red tail in their second year, they could be 2 years old or they could be 10. There's no way to gauge how old they are. Falconry doesn't do anything to hurt the population of the red-tails. We actually help to promote the population of the red-tailed hawk, or whichever bird we're hunting with. Red-tailed hawks in the wild, approximately 75% will die their first year from electrocution, getting hit by cars, starvation, freezing. By taking the bird in their first year, we're able to take it to the veterinarian. It gets a continuous supply of food every day. I'm able to monitor its weight and make sure that it's healthy. And then probably after this hunting season, I will release the bird back into the wild. Like I say, she's still a wild animal. If I took her out there right now and let her go, she would fly up in the trees. And if I didn't call her back down, she would fly off. But she'll be able to go back into the population and reproduce, and I'll be able to trap another bird. During the summertime, I took her out probably once or twice a week and just continuously reinforced what I had trained her before to come to the glove, come to the lure. Takes a lot of patience. This is her about 2 hours after I trapped her. She had her wings out. It's called mantling. She was very agitated, her mouth open, eyes wide. By the second day, she was sitting on the glove. She had her wings down. She was able to put her head back. She didn't. That top picture was day 2. That bottom picture was day 4. This was a good quote one of my fellow falconers found. Falconry is not a hobby or an amusement, it is a rage. You eat it, you drink it, sleep it, and think it. You tremble to right of it, even in recollection. It is, as King James I remarked, an extreme stir of passions. It's been around a really long time, and it's very neat to watch. This is a video my wife doesn't like me to show because the room's dirty. But that's Piper across the our bonus room upstairs. That was about after the first week, and then this is about the second week, and we took her outside. That's Piper on a hunt that I went on around Callaway Gardens up in around Pine Mountain in Georgia. I was lucky enough that a professional photographer was there, and he ended up following our group, and so I got some really nice pictures. It's hard to see in this picture. There's the squirrel.